Okay, so today I'm going to get into the rocker box. If you don't know what a rocker box is, that's okay. A lot of us didn't know what a rocker box is. You're probably not going to know what a rocker box is unless you buy, a Blazer or a Jimmy, and it happens to be first gen or maybe an early second gen, like square body ones. Basically, if you had a full convertible, right, it means right to the windshield, Blazer or Jimmy, you got a rocker box. I didn't know these things were a thing. I thought this was kind of set up like a truck cab, and the later ones were. So I had a '76 Jimmy. It's on the channel here. It didn't have these things. I think once it's installed, it'll be a little harder to explain what's going on. So I thought I would kind of open with it and kind of show you what we got. It's a rocker box is a three-piece unit. So it consists of this large kind of tub, if you will. And this tub welds to the firewall right there. This lip right above, right at the top of the like where your pedals sit, where that floor pan is, there's that little lip that comes over. That welds right to that lip. And this guy here runs all the way across. This welds on as well. And that's going to weld on. There's a floor support under there. I'll take you under and I'll show you. This is just a structural rod. Some people think it's a fuel line. I won't mention any names, but that is actually just to help keep structure. So that's gonna weld across there. That's gonna weld across there. This all welds across the inner rocker panel. I'll take you in there and show you. This guy here, this is part of the three-piece. So this is piece number one. This is piece number two. This is called a rocker box reinforcement panel. And this guy actually bolts into this bed side here. Right inside here. I'll take you in and show you where that bolts in. And then we got this end cap. This end cap's kind of interesting. It only bolts. So there's 3 bolts there. There's 3 bolts here. There's 3 bolts across here. And then 2 bolts here. I don't know if this unbolts to clean that out. I could imagine that'll probably hold a lot of sand and gravel and dirt and crud and rust. And like mine rotted right out into nothingness. There's a chunk of it laying over there on the floor. What's left of it. Like, it just turned into ribbons. Let's see here. So you can see here, this is the large part of the deep part of the tub, if you will. What's left of mine. There's not much here. So I'll have to go along the top and cut and grind and chisel and hammer, and I'll get this off though. So I'll weld that along there, across the front where I showed you on the floor pan, and then also the inner rocker here. It'll come up onto that. Back here is where that rocker box reinforcement panel goes. There's a couple of bolts here. I think this guy up here, this guy down here. There's a couple that come in from the cab that go in there. These ones up top. And then that rocker box bolts back here. Oh, rocker box bolts 2 up there, 3 here, and then onto the box itself. While I was under here, I thought it was a good idea to do all of my body bushings. So give myself a fighting chance at getting this thing straight before I weld that stuff in. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to open with. I am going to start by trying to rip the rest of this off. We got most of it off. I mean, like by replacing all of this stuff, it's gone. What's left is there. And then there's this, which this kind of shows you pretty much what I was working with out here in the main part. Up here is real strong yet, which kind of sucks because that's the part I got to take off. And it's the strongest. It's the stuff that's most welded. It's the thickest. You can see how thick it is. It's going to be a bugger. I don't know if I'll waste too much of your time watching me with that. Just know I'll be on the struggle bus for the next hour or so, and I'll bring you back when it's all hammered off and ready to go, and I'll let you know how I did that. And then we'll hit it with a flapper, clean her up real good, get her ready for welding, and we'll slap this new guy in. I'm thinking I might run a couple of self-tappers up here just to kind of hold it in place, because there's going to be a lot of fit up. I'm going to have to get this in the right spot this way. I'm going to have to get it in the right spot this way, because it doesn't look like it really locks into anything up there, right? And then I got to get it on the right spot up front because of that lip. And then I got to get it in the right spot back here because of these bolts. And then I got to get it in the right spot over here because of these bolts. So there is a lot of fit up that's going to happen. But first things first, well, let's get this ripped out, and then we'll go along and we'll start prepping all of our welding surfaces, get them clean and ready to go. All right, with that being said, I'm going to get started. I don't want this to be too long of a video for you. We'll just stick to the meat and potatoes today. About to get started here. Okay, I'm about to get started here. Just debating the best way to tackle this. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a zip disc and cut it off along here. And that'll just leave me that one little strip to deal with. Up here, I'm going to try and chisel and hammer and peel it back. I would love to take you guys along for the ride with me, but I am really getting sick and tired of replacing GoPros that I burn up. So I will I'll do a little bit of work, I'll come back, we'll take a look at it. I'll do a little bit of work, I'll come back, we'll take a look at it. How's that for fair? Well, I'm going to start. I'm going to lop this off. Then you can see some of those welds are pretty gnarly. I'll come back and I'll try and knock those out of there one by one. We'll see what happens. All right. So that was zero fun. 0 stars out of 5. If somebody asks you to help them do their rocker boxes, no, it sucks. But I'll show you what I did. Maybe it'll make it a little easier for you. I don't know. So I was laying under there, I said I was going to cut this guy off first, and that's what I did. I cut that big strip off, you know, it only makes sense. Now I'm dealing with a strip about this wide for the entire length, and it kind of started out like that. So what I started to do was just chop out the weld, and then I realized if I cut kind of as I go and just left the weld, I could just go back and knock those out with a chisel and a grinder and a zip disc and what have you. It really probably took, I don't know, the better part of 30-40 minutes. It's not that long, but when you're laying on your back eating rust and grinding dust and all the rest of it, it can sure seem like a long time. Let's go in there and take a look. So I got this all cleaned up. I got the welds cut out. I got in with a grinder, cleaned everything up. You can see in some spots I dig too deep. I'll see where that lines up with our new one. It should line up in the same spot, so I should be able to just fill that in with weld when the time comes. I'm not overly concerned about it, but that is all prepped for welding. Same as this inner rocker, all prepped for welding. It's ready to go. This is prepped for paint. Actually, I got it painted, just waiting for it to dry. This is the inner rocker box. So I got her bolted in. We're missing one here, and I believe this is supposed to come down further, but it's just not there. I'm not too concerned about it. We're gonna have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts in that guy. You know, it's less than a square foot. So I think we have lots of strength there. And then we got the 3 bolts along the side as well to the rocker box. So I think we're going to be set to go here. I'm going to go inside and have some lunch. Of course, that will mean nothing to you. When I come back, maybe I'll drag the wife under here with me. she can help me position this bad boy. I wouldn't mind getting it kind of mocked up where it needs to go. Maybe even partially bolted in on the back. I'd like to hook the front. So the front kind of hooks on here. I got that all prepped. And then maybe that'll be my first weld. Then maybe I'll bolt it in at the back and then go along and weld it up along the floor support and then the rocker. I don't know. I've never done this before and I can't find anything on YouTube anywhere. So either this will be right and hey, you'll get a great tip, or it'll be wrong and hey, you'll get a great tip. Either way, I'm going to try it and give it a go, and we'll see how she plays out. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that guy fit up in there, shall we? Okay, so we got it kind of set up into place there, and we got it drawn tight against the rocker panel, and then I got it drawn tight against the front here. So right or wrong, I don't know, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this up first, and then I'm going to try and draw it to the back because we're a little short, and hopefully I can draw it to the back and then maybe get some of that bolt up first. We'll get her bolted up. So we'll get this welded into place because this is the only place this can go. So we'll get this welded up and then we'll go in the back. We'll try and get that bolted up. And then once we got that, I wouldn't mind welding up the rocker panel and then the floor support. So I'll get going here.
I'm just going to record them.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just putting it on. Okay, got that in. Let me walk you through everything. Thanks to my lovely wife with the nice black mark on her for you. Okay, so here's what was holding us together before. You can see there's not much there. And if anything, it's just pretty rotted out. In fact, the passenger side is much the same thing. Let me go underneath with you and I'll show you exactly what we did. Okay, so I started by welding across the front on the firewall there, you know, the toe kick area. I will admit this front body bushing, that had to come out because this actually kind of slips underneath the corner of it there. Can you see that? So it slips underneath the corner of it, so that was a pain in the butt. So I tried to take that out and push this up and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, we got her. Next up was back here. So I found it easier to just kind of loosely bolt everything together, very loosely. Actually, this reinforcement panel, that got installed tight right off the bat. But all of this stuff here, this all got just loosely attached. And I had to really get in there with a pry bar and pry on it and stretch this and get her over there. It wasn't easy. This didn't just fall into place. In fact, I would get on here. I probably started with about an inch short, and I'm pulling on pry bars and everything else, trying to get this stuff in. Finally, once I get that in, I can get one of these in, so on and so forth. And then when you tighten all this up, especially these guys and these guys, when you tighten those up, it really pulls it together and then this pulls her up to the body. And then once this was in place, you know, the front was welded, then I went ahead and welded all this up. So this needs to weld to the rocker. And then up here, this is where the heavy welding takes place. Because, you know, you're welding to that floor support, which is pretty thick. I'd say like 1/8 of an inch thick, maybe even thicker. And then this is pretty thick as well. So you can really gob the weld on there, which is what I did, which is also what the factory did. I put on about 4 times as much weld as the factory did, but I probably did it a quarter time as good. So it all works out in the end. So that's where we're at. The one thing to remember is you're gonna have to get your own bolts. When you order this, it doesn't come with bolts. So you'll have to get your own. And for heaven's sakes, do all your body mounts and bushings first. Don't do it afterwards, because I don't know. I wanted this thing sitting properly before I did that. And I also had to do my rockers, and I also changed out a bedside. So I had, you know, the luxury of having a lot of new parts here already. If you're doing all this stuff and you haven't got your rocker box, I would recommend getting it, because I feel like it's really tightened up the body. That side's next. I think I'll spare you me making a video of it, because, well, I just made a video of this side. So yeah, I'll probably get on that one this week. Same as that rocker and that floor panel over there. I can't see it being any different than what we've done on this side. So with that said, I think that's gonna do it for this one. Final words go to my wife.
I don't know. Like, share, and subscribe.
Oh, sure. Okay, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
What you think about that? What you